Hi, there is Bibi Cameron for Tonic Studios, and today I will be sharing ideas and inspiration to use products in the new car making kit just released this month. I also want to share some of my stamping tips, and I will be showing you how to make all the projects you see in the pictures, plus some extra at the end of the video. With the kit, you will get this stamp set with 7 individual stamps, and you will get a die set with 7 dies as well. 2 of them coordinates perfectly with the images in the stamp set. You will get 2 Nuvo Aquaflow pens. You will also get these mini bottles with Nuvo crystal glaze and Nuvo crystal drops in dark walnut color. They are perfect to embellish your projects. This mini mousse is also included. This is Indian gold color. And of course you are going to get paper in 7 different colors and 7 different textures. These are autumnal colors, so you can get into the mood of the season as well. I love stamping, and I'm going to start by showing you how the images in the set looks when they are stamped on a smooth cardstock using the Tim Holtz stamping platform and Nuvo Black Shadow Hybrid ink. I also like to stamp the images twice to get bold lines and more definition. So here you can see how crisp and how nice these images are. I also like to see my stamps differently. For example, this image here also looks like a tree, or you can also use it as the stems of a flower. I also like to use this little flower here to create a small embellishment for the hedgehog, and I'm going to make her look more feminine. You also have sentiments for different occasions, birthday, retirement, and general celebrations. I'm also going to use the dies here to cut the paper, so you will see how clean and perfect is that cut. And there you go, 2 different die cuts that you can use in your papercraft projects. So this is a card I made using various products from the kit, and instead using the whole image of the hat, I just trim the flower and I just add that little embellishment on the head of that hedgehog. I also color the die cuts using the Nuvo Aquaflow pens in the kit, and I embellish using the dark walnut Nuvo drops. And I'm going to be using this smooth Bristol paper. If you are going to work with your Nuvo water-based markers, I highly recommend to use this paper because the markers performs better on this kind of paper and your coloring results will be completely different. This is not ordinary cardstock, okay? You can also use watercolor paper, of course. So I'm going to stamp the hedgehog here, and I'm going to apply a really easy masking technique to give you an idea to overlay these images. So here I'm going to create a mask using a post-it note, and I'm going to place this on top of my stamped image to stamp over. And I want to share with you a tip here. When you are multi-stamping, sometimes it's quite difficult to keep cleaning the stamp. So what I do is, using a piece of acetate or a plastic bag, I place the stamp facing down like so, and then I move it around to see where I want that image to be stamped. Of course, this is something I do when I'm using the stamping platform. If you are using your acrylic blocks, you don't need to do this. And I also wanted to show you how easy it is to overlay images using the Tim Holtz platform. You can use this technique with any of the stamps you have to create different compositions. You can use the other stamps in the set to complete your composition. And here's what I was telling you before. I just trim the little flower and I use it as an embellishment to put on the head there. So it looks very cute. Adding colors to these images with Nuvo markers is just easy peasy. I use a water brush to help me out to spread that color and also to blend the color. I also like to add white dots or lines to the images as finishing touches using a uniball white pen and a black one. So that's a way to build a scene and to stamp all the sentiments in different ways as well, and also to add color to these little images. And no worries, I know that I showed that super fast, but now I'm going to show you step by step how I add color to this kind of images using Nuvo water-based markers. Okay, I'm going to apply first the lighter colors. I'm going to apply pink on her little cheeks and a little bit of yellow around her face. Now I'm going to use a little bit of the ink of this Nuvo Aquaflow pen, and I'm going to mix it with water, and I'm going to use this water brush to apply the ink over the image. I'm not going to apply any ink around her eyes, but I'm going to kind of try to bring the ink from her forehead to her nose. So I give a little bit of shape there. As every time I wet the ink with the aqua brush, the ink is going to activate and is going to blend. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to blend the brown, the pink, and the yellow together so I get another tone of color or another shade of color. Then I apply the ink directly with the Aquaflow pen in those areas I want to be really dark, like so. I also like to add a warm color like this hot pink, just to add a little bit of interest as well. I also like to add eyeshadows, a little bit of blue over the eyebrows. It's just to make the image look a little bit more fun. And those are very basic steps. So from there, what I do is just adding a little bit of water, or I just pass over the brush with a little bit of water to try to blend those colors and try to avoid the patches of color, the yellow, the pink. I just try to make all to look a little bit more even. And after that, you can keep throwing colors there if you want. If you don't like it, you can change the colors the whole time. For example, I think that this flower in yellow is quite a bit pale, so I'm going to add red. And these markers are very forgiving as well, this technique. You can just change the color like that. And to finish, I like to add white dots or lines and also black dots. That's all I do to add color to this image. This is very basic coloring, easy and quick and enjoyable. To add color to the leaf, I just mix the ink of the yellow Nuvo brush script with a blue one. And I really like the green shade that I can get by doing that. And then I just apply some Nuvo crystal drops or Nuvo crystal glaze here and there. The last thing I do is stamping the sentiment. Any of the sentiments in the stamp set will fit inside the leaf or this leaf here, but you can also use them to create a background, to stamp a little tag, or to mix and match with another stamp set. And I ended up by cutting this image, so it's ready to be used in any other project. And here is a sample of a card you can create with an image like this one. And something I like about this little card is that I have created the background using the tools included in the kit. And I'm going to be making a DIY stamp and a DIY stencil. To create a stamp, you are going to need foam sheets. These are ordinary foam sheets. You can get them anywhere. And I'm going to cut two leaves. Another thing I want to show you is how beautiful those dies emboss the paper or whatever you are cutting with them. I'm going to cut a piece of mirror card to create an stencil. I like to use this kind of cardstock to do that because it's easy to clean and I can reuse it. Then I'm going to paste with this tape one leaf on top of the other, And then I'm going to paste them with the same tape on a clear block. You can use any of the dies in the kit to create your own stamps. Now I'm going to create my own ink pad as well. And I'm going to use a baby wipe. This is an old technique. It has been on internet for a long time. But the new thing is I'm going to use the ink of my Nuvo Aquaflow pens. I'm going to be using the pens that I got in the kit, and I'm going to mix a little bit of aqua, which is a blue pen. I'm also going to make another combo here, and I'm going to add the ink of the brown pen. Then I'm going to add the green pen, and I'm going to add another colors like orange and red. So I'm going to tap several times this DIY stamp on that inky wipe, and then I'm going to stamp like I normally do. And you can stamp the leaves in any order you want. Now I'm going to use the stencil and the Nuvo mousse that comes in the kit, which is this gold color. And to apply the mousse, I'm going to be using a tiny Nuvo sponge. They come four in a package, and I found them absolutely amazing for blending inks and also to apply the mousses. So this is how you can transform a very plain sheet of paper in something fun. So I really like the look and feel of this paper, and I already have done the same here using aquamarine Nuvo mousse. And now I'm going to add a little bit of ink as well. So I'm going to put some of the ink of the Nuvo Aquaflow pen on the glass mat, and I apply it on this panel using the stencil, just like that. I like the effect that overlapping all these inks creates on the paper because they are translucent, so you can see what is underneath as well. And to finish that background paper, I'm going to stamp it using this stamp here from the stamp set and brown Nuvo hybrid ink. So in some points, I'm going to try to align this image with the shape of the leaves there, but I'm also going to stamp them randomly to create a texture there. This is how the paper can look after you stamp it and you use the stencil and you do all the things I just did. You can use any color to create this paper, and you can also use it for Christmas projects, for example, for a cracker, and you can add that golden element that looks so nice. I have to try it on a box just to see how it looks and to share that idea with you. And last but not least, I want to show you quickly a couple of ideas I have to share with you using the other dies in the package. There are three main dies to build a autumnal wreath, and you can use them all together or you can also use them individually. Something I love about this die is that it partially die cuts the leaves. This is the main die to create that wreath. So if I use the die alone, this is the die cut I get. And if I add the inner die, which is to cut the center of that wreath, or a window at the center, this is what I get. And if I use the two previous dies I just showed, and also this frame die here, I'm going to get an intricate die cut like this one here. These are the basic die cuts I can get when using the dies. So here's where I have another two ideas, and it's to create decorative edges using these dies. You can simply add one of these die cuts at the edge of a card, and just by doing that, you will add a beautiful decorative element to that project. You can also use a partial die cutting technique to create an envelope for a gift card. You can make these in many different colors, and you can also paint the die cuts using markers. And making this little envelope for a gift card is extremely easy. All I need to do is grab a piece of cardstock that measures 8 inches and a quarter by 5 inches, and I'm going to score a 3 and a 6 inches as I'm showing here. Then I'm going to align this scoring line here with the edge of the die cutting plate, and I'm going to place my dies like so. I'm going to secure these dies with tape. I need to make sure that they are not going to move, and then I place my other plate on top just like that, making sure that it's completely covering my dies, and I'm going to run this through the machine. Trim the corners there or any excess paper. You also might need to cut one of the sides of the cardstock because you will find it a little bit larger for the envelope. So I'm not going to show that here. This is just a simple idea. And now I'm going to move to another idea which is very similar. You can use a 5 inches by 11 inches piece of cardstock, score at 3 inches both ends, and create a full gate card. Then you can apply a partial die cutting technique to trim the edges as well. And here you have two options. You can leave your project like that and simply paste these die cuts on top. You can also completely cut these decorative edges there, like this sample here. You can add a message here at the center of the card, and you can also add some floral die cuts in the front panel to make something completely different. Another thing I did when I was reviewing and trying this card making kit, it was cutting the leaves in the grid, so I can also use them to decorate the front of the card, also paint them with my markers and use them as embellishments. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. Bye!